Hi and welcome. I'm Scribbles. Today we're going to work on a page. We're going to make a page together right here. So what I did is put together some pages, and inside this I used this manila envelope as my base. Well, it's going to be my cover. And I decided to sew them in. And that's what I did. Just put a bunch of pages together, made them cut to fit. So next, what I was going to do is I've decided for my books, I like to just start with some real basic colors, a lot of browns, and then one accent color because there's less options for me and that makes it more doable. There's too many decisions, I get overwhelmed. So purple is going to be my accent color for this one. So what I did was I just went through my stuff, my stash, and I pulled out my washi tapes that are the purple ones. I pulled out some ribbon. Pulled out some tissue paper. First, I found this has some purple flowers, and then I looked around some more and I found this. Like, oh, that's purple. Oh, I have this, which is cut out of a napkin. Okay, I have some generic lace. I found some fabrics that I liked that are pretty generic. This is just newsprint style. This is sort of a just beige. Got a little bit of texturing in it. This is actually ribbon, like wire edged ribbon, but it works really well to cut into smaller pieces and like fray the edges. I like that. I went through my books that I had on hand and pulled out some purples. And I found a really old piece of scrapbook paper. I used to collect, scrapbook paper. I tried it when my kids were younger, and it just never really worked for me. And I have some left over. This one is it's so old, and I've never used it. And I'm probably never going to use it. So I can cut this off and use that edge. And I've got a few more pictures here, but the other thing I did was just found some things that are neutrals. So this could be a pocket, the bottom of a bag. Same with this one. Now, if you don't have things that are purple, you don't have to run to town, whatever your accent color is. I've got this, which is the do-it-yourself transparent sticker that I could add color to it, or I could put it on top of something with color, maybe this tissue paper. I've got I cut this window envelope down so I can use it whichever direction I want. And then I really like this set attention needed because, hey, sometimes we all need some attention. It's always needed. I've got my regular old pages. I have some book pages that are large print and they don't look so good in the journals, but this is a book page, one of the more larger print. You just cut a flower out. I just colored this a little bit on top with marker and or crayon type stuff, and that made it purple. I also took some of this plain old handwriting paper and I used a little bit of watercolor on it. And then while it was still damp, I pressed it into my plastic canvas and it left a little bit of a grid. I don't know if you can see it in this light, but there's a little bit of a grid pattern here on it. So that was kind of fun. It shows up in person. And we're going to use this later on as well. So that's what I did. Pulled out stuff, made a couple of decisions, and let's get started. Okay, so I want to put a pocket on here, and just so you can see it better, I think I'll use the white bag, bottom of a bag. So what I'm going to do is just fold a good bit of it over and then fold half of it back. And then I'm going to glue down this section. Do that up here as well, probably about here. Just make it work. We're not gonna measure, we're not gonna overthink. Just gonna enjoy the process here. All right. And then I think I'm gonna get that glued down. I want to fold this under. It just looks a little messy on the bottom. It's going to be bottom here. So I think that's gonna go here. That will let us slide in from this side, and we can decorate this and decorate around it. So you can decide if you want it at the bottom, if you want it in the middle, if you want to make it narrower and put it this direction. I think I'm going to go with this for mine. And then again, we're just going to glue the what's facing you when you turn it over just a little bit on all three sides. Okay, I think what I would like to do is add some purple onto this as one of our layers. And I think I don't necessarily want it all the way to the edge, so I'm just going to tear some of this off, see where we end up. You might have to be a little careful with the glue. So that you don't tear it while you're lacing it down. If you want it hanging over, you can. If you want it glued like down around, you can do that, however you want to do it. Okay, I think that what I want to put in here, I like to do like a file folder or cardboard or something. And I do have this thin cardboard. So what I did was cut this down and I made sort of a little tab right here. I've even got the wrong pencil mark on there, and that's okay. We're going to cover it up. So I'll make sure this fits into our little slots here. I have this paper I've cut down and I've got clipped together. I think we're just going to put a whole bunch of glue on here and let it dry. All right, so I'm just getting a lot of glue. And we let that dry, and we do that a couple of times. And then we're going to be gluing that down onto this. So when you pull this out, it'll pull this out. Although I'm seeing now I need to double check that this is the right size, and it's probably going to be a tiny bit too tall. Yes, it is. So I'm going to cut this down. Okay, while that glue is drying, let's set that aside and go back to this for a little bit. I think I'm just going to take some of this and put it on here to start. No measuring for me. Just going to play around with it. I think I just want to fold that over and then trim it. To work around the camera. That's fine. I probably should have put something on here first. Maybe something as simple as this fabric. And we can wrap it around a little bit. I kind of like a frayed edge, so I could even pull off some of these on purpose to have a more frayed edge. All right, since this was really purple, maybe we can hide some of this very bright purple. Here I go again with my layering, saying, oh, I should have put this down first. You could hide some of it under that, or you could do it this way so that only more of the gold is showing on the front. Okay, didn't cover all of it. And I have this paper that I watercolored, and I'm thinking, what if we just add that in between the two? Just a little bit more. Okay, that's maybe a lot more. This we can save and do edge of a page with it. Yeah, that's not bad. I've got some texture on it down at the bottom. So maybe we keep that and glue this on and then cut off the excess at the top. This is what it's all about. Had I started knowing I was going to do this, I may have layered them differently, but look at how this turns out without planning ahead a whole bunch. It's still going to be just fine. Here's the paper, because it's a little bit jaggedy. I could put it on some sandpaper and sand it down a little bit, but I think this is okay. A little more glue. And I do think I'm going to need to cover the back, just, well, unless I link this into a way where it doesn't come out any further, but I think I am going to have to cover the back. So that's not bad. And we could put letters right here that say pull, something like that, put arrows on it. And then how would we cover this? We can just put one big piece right here. Okay, so I cut this out. It's thinking of you, so I put that in the center. This is the back of my card. I think I'm going to just glue it pretty much like this and then trim off the excess, right, on each side. If anybody looks at the back, they'll know we've been thinking of them. I say that because I might give these away, so I always think about who might be using it. Remember, we are not going for perfection here. Oh, let me tell you. Okay, so do you remember me saying that, if you've watched my channel, that I don't really have a lot of people where I live who do this kind of thing, enjoy this kind of thing, know anything about this kind of thing. So, um, my other journal that I've shown you in my flip through, I showed a couple of them of my friends and was sort of explaining what I'm trying to do here. And one of my friends looked at it, was flipping through it, and she goes, "Oh, I'd be afraid, get this, I'd be afraid of what? Messing it up." And what have I told you guys? I said no to her. I said, no, no, no. It's made from junk mail. You can't mess it up. Come on. Scribble in it. It's okay. It needs to be used, not just looked at. Okay, now that we have this done and we know what our color is, there's not much there. It's pretty pale. We can go ahead and work on this in the surroundings. Now this is wire edged ribbon. But I just cut a bit out. I cut off the wire edge. And then you take off the first row or two. See how that's more frayed looking now? We can put it down here. We can put it vertical. Let's see. Words could be good. Let's look at some of our words. Okay, I have a couple of ideas. I had some paper, words printed on a page. So I just put some packing tape on one of them and cut it out. And if we get rid of the paper on the back, this will be transparent. That's the word. This will be a transparent sticker. And I know I already had one of those in the floral, but I wanted some words. The other thing, here we are. I also have a toothbrush, an old toothbrush I wanted to try. I have mixed up some acrylic paint and water because I don't have any white ink. And I want to try this plastic canvas really as a stamp. Let me make sure this is mixed okay. This is basically a wash now. Do they sell white ink? Do you guys have white ink? I mean, I have a pen, the white Signo gel pen, but I don't really have white ink. I think they probably sell. They sell everything, but this way I don't have to buy it. Okay, I'm not gonna go with that. I'll drop it. Alrighty. We're gonna try this on here as a stamp. All right, not too bad. Very too much paint at the top, but once it dries, we can cut it out. Oh, that one's much better. Let's try this. Sorry, get it in the camera. A little difficult to figure out how to get it in there, but that's all right. We've managed. See what happens with a toothbrush. Old nasty toothbrush. Do some edges here. Oh, nothing at all. This should have been on my found stamps video, except it would have been a fail. Alrighty, so you know what we'll do instead? First of all, we'll just push this together and use it later for something else. Always using things later for something else. Secondly, we can try Flicking it. Oh, that works. That works nice. Flicking it. And then we'll have this page for something else later on. We're always creating things to use later. Okay, let me clean up real quick. All right, I'm back. I've made a few decisions. I think we're going to use some of this plaid that's going to go along this edge, and we'll cut that to fit. I found this word explore. I found some numbers. Remember I talked about large print. If you ever see a large print that someone gives you, or maybe it's at the thrift store, they're good for numbers and some bold titles. Now I left extra on this, on all of them, because depending where we put them, we might want to glue something over top or tuck this under. So if we glued it like under there, then we might want that extra space. I was thinking of putting this maybe closer to the top with these numbers, maybe down lower. We also want to cut out some of our little stamping and splattering and use some of that. So there's going to be a little bit of layout and figure out. And then I also have a couple of this in my words right here that we could take the back off of and use these as stickers as well. I think we're going to try this up here. I'm not sure what I want to do with, now that I said that, hold on, because this is me saying I should layer this first. I'm going to wet the edges a little bit, see if that helps to kind of soften this so I can fray it even more. Just tear so it'll be frayed. Yeah. Not afraid, just frayed. This is the packing paper. It's pretty thin, so just real quick put some glue on this and get it in place so we can go back to the other one that has glue on it at the minute. And now back to the explore word. And we can cover up the edge of that one like so, and we can cut this down. So I hope you're actually making along with me or watching and learning some things and enjoying. One thing I found with this is if you don't like what you've done, just keep adding on to it or stamp over top of it or tear something. Eventually you'll like it pretty well. Add some ribbon or something. I think I'm going to put the numbers down below. I know they don't mean anything. I just grabbed them out of a book. But if you have numbers that are mean something, you can choose the numbers you want. That's better. I got a little too hasty. All right, now because I have extra room on that one, put this next to it. I don't need the extra room on this one. I'm going to trim this down. And you know, if you wanted to cut out all the numbers individually, I've done that before. I just don't like making people wait. It's a phobia of mine, so to speak. So I'm trying to keep things moving for us all. Okay, get some water here and see if this paper is ready to come off the back, and it is. So let me get off all these little bits. This is a little bit fussy, but it looks better. Turn that over, and I think I'm going to trim it just a bit. I like these to not be square. I usually trim it before I take the paper off. It's funny, I'm cutting so much this time. I usually just tear stuff. I just printed off these arrows and cut them out, and I think I'm going to put them on there. I think I am going to do the same tape and take the paper off the back because it will match this page better. And then I did the same with, these are compasses. Since I already put the word explore, I'm going to see about putting these on top of here. And again, the same way, so it's clear. So we can still see the plaid behind it, and it will match better on this page. And then we might top it off with just a couple other things to finish it off. Okay, I think I'm ready to attach these. I didn't really measure my arrows, so let's hope for the best here. Oh, not bad size-wise. We can pull that out, right? Now, if I had, like, adding that word explore, I didn't really know I was going to be doing that, but if I was doing a travel journal, I could have made sure to have things on hand that were like travel things. Explore. You generally have to travel to explore. But this is not bad. It ties in the black that we've got going on. It doesn't really have to do anything to do with anything, but that's all right. I mean, maybe it does if you go through history. I'm sure something happened in 1912. Okay, I have a couple of options here. I think what I want to do up top is I just took a book page and I just tore out about the right size. I put ink around the edges and then I inked a little bit in the middle because it just seemed too bright. So I might just add that onto there. Okay. Then I cut some more of this purple plaid. Just cut a skinny piece that has more white on it than purple. And I'm going to add that down here. Now the other thing I did, you remember this burlap ribbon and how we pulled out these long strands so that it would look a little more frayed? Well, I took those long strands, actually I went and got 3 of them, and I just put them together and I tied a knot. So I was considering putting that on here somewhere, maybe like this, but I'm not sure I'm going to use it this time. I think if I did anywhere, it would be on the purple, but I think I'm going to pass on that for this time, but I might use it somewhere else. All right, I've just glued this down. I'm going to glue this down, and we'll be done with this page, I think. So let me know your thoughts. If you would have done something differently, if you have, I'm trying to get the glue out of my bottle here. If you have any other thoughts, ideas, or if you want to send me a picture of a page you've done, especially if you built along with me, let me see how yours turned out. I would love to see that. Like I said, I don't have a lot of people out here. I don't have anyone out here who shares this passion with me, which is why I'm on the internet now. So start simply, but simply start.